With the WWE bringing its latest premium live event, Bad Blood, this upcoming weekend, you know we had to do a prediction video. Of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Welcome back to the J Area, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that now in order to keep up to date with all the pro wrestling content that is produced on this channel. And with all that being said, let's jump right into the predictions. Let's start with the WWE Women's Championship as Nia Jax defends her championship against Bayley, the former champion who had lost the very same title to Nia Jax at this year's SummerSlam. I, for one, am a fan of what they're doing with Nia Jax. I think it's probably her best run since rejoining the company, and seeing her and the partnership between Tiffany Stratton begin to evolve is creating a little bit of intrigue and interest as to what the future plans will be regarding all participants. We had a matchup between Bayley and Naomi to name the number one contender for this matchup, and unfortunately for Bayley, I do not see her emerging victorious. She just had a championship run from WrestleMania to this year's SummerSlam. I find it very hard to believe that WWE is going to take off the championship off of Nia Jax after having her win Queen of the Ring and then the world title. I think it's going to be a decisive victory. Should be a competitive matchup, but I think this will be the feud ender for Bayley, and we'll see where she moves forward in terms of her WWE career. As for Nia Jax, she retains the title, and I think we begin to set up the inevitable feud between her and Tiffany Stratton, who I suspect will be the one to cash in on Nia Jax eventually. And sticking with the women's division, let's talk about the Women's World Championship as Liv Morgan defends her title against Rhea Ripley, with the added stipulation that Dominic Mysterio will be suspended in a shark cage above the ring. It's one of the more silliest, stipulations that the WWE will present, especially on this card. But it is a story that is filled with revenge, it's filled with love and hate. And Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, I am sure, are going to deliver an entertaining matchup. Now, it can go 50-50 when it comes to this. This is a feud that has been building well over a year now, and especially after the return of Rhea Ripley, I find it hard to believe that this is where the feud concludes. I look at the way they present Liv Morgan and the Judgment Day on this past week's Monday Night Raw. Finn Balor made a phone call to Dominic Mysterio telling Liv Morgan that everything is set, everything's good to go. For some reason, I can't see Rhea Ripley winning this week, and I think if Rhea Ripley were to win the championship, it's as good as over. I don't see how they can move forward with this feud if Rhea Ripley were to emerge victorious. I think somehow the Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio, in some fashion, will become involved, allowing Liv Morgan to earn a victory over Rhea Ripley. Again, whether it's by hook or crook, I think Rhea Ripley goes down to Liv Morgan and the championship reign continues. And as we're moving right along in this Bad Blood predictions videos, let's stick with the Judgment Day. We talked about Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Let's talk about Finn Balor and Damian Priest. A feud that personally I think has left a little bit to be desired in terms of its build. I know we've had run-ins with the Judgment Day and the Terror Twins, but for me it's gotten a little bit redundant. This is a feud that I'm looking forward to because of the ramification that it takes place for the course of their careers, really. Finn Balor and Damian Priest, both members of the Judgment Day, especially in that early incarnation. What are we going to do now, right? Depending on who wins, this will build up momentum for that winner. And if you ask me, I think there's one individual who needs the momentum more than the other. Damian Priest is a made man. I feel like he's a main event spot. He's won the world title, had quality matches against the likes of Jey Uso and Gunther. Finn Balor, on the other hand, I feel like has been losing a little bit of steam, certainly because we've also lacked him on Monday Night Raw. I have Liv Morgan defeating Rhea Ripley in their respective matchup, and for some reason I can't see them going 2 for 2. I'm going to predict Damian Priest to win this matchup, defeating Finn Balor, especially how their altercation ended on Raw where the Judgment Day stood tall. 9 times out of 10 the WWE does that almost as a way to throw you off and have the eventual winner come back from below, win the matchup. If it were up to me though, I think Finn Balor should win this matchup. Give him some momentum, give him some steam, especially to develop into a credible heel. But I think the WWE is going to rock with Damian Priest on this one. The next matchup is another one that's a little too close to call, as Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns forming an alliance to take on Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu of the Bloodline. This is a matchup that has all the intrigue in the world. It has sparked a debate as to what should be the main event of WWE's Bad Blood. It's one of the premier storylines not only in the WWE but in pro wrestling in general, as two of the biggest stars in the sport will combine their forces to take down Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. You can argue for both sides on who should win, why they should win, but I'm looking at it in the grand scheme of things. If we were to look at it from a one match perspective, it's hard to not bet with Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns to emerge victorious, but I'm looking at it from the grand scheme, like I said, and if you take a step back, I feel like this would really hurt the Bloodline's credibility to have Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns win. Now, the only question is, if they were to lose, that being the baby faces, who would take the pinfall? Who would take the deciding victory for the Bloodline? I feel like if Cody Rhodes were to take the pinfall, whoever were to pin him kind of earns a championship opportunity. And then if Roman Reigns were to take that pinfall, that would only add more heat to the Bloodline versus Roman Reigns. For this prediction, I think you can tell where I'm kind of leaning towards. I think the Bloodline get the victory. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu are in need of some momentum. You look at SummerSlam and having Solo Sikoa lose that matchup. The steel cage match, lose that matchup. The Bloodline is in need of a victory here. I feel like that really demeans their credibility to SmackDown if they were to just lose to Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I think we should expect some interference, whether it's from the Tongans or whether it's from a surprise debut. Who knows? When it comes to the Bloodline, you never know who's going to be emerging from the back. I think there's a lot more story to tell here. I think Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns ultimately want the same thing, but they won't be able to do so because of their egos. I think Cody Rhodes has an ego that's developing now that Roman Reigns has come back. Roman Reigns is the same Roman Reigns that we've known, who's always looked to be the tribal chief and be the top guy in the company. I can't see it working. I think the WWE will have the heels, again, the Bloodline, emerge victorious, continuing this storyline to the inevitable Survivor Series where the War Games matchup should be fantastic. And finally, what should be the main event of this premium live event? CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell. And what should be, and what is hyped up to be, the conclusion of a 10-month feud between two of WWE's best and brightest stars. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre look to do battle in one of the more devastating, destructive, and just violent matches in the WWE. In recent years, that hasn't really been the case, but the WWE has done a fine job in trying to reestablish the menacing figure and stature that is the Hell in a Cell. Gone is the cell of the red and just god-awful presentation that for some reason they were trying to push in the latter years of Vince McMahon, and has returned with the classic steel-looking structure. It's a matchup that I'm looking forward to. I will say this past week on Monday Night Raw, they had their face-off inside the Hell in a Cell as a final way to pitch and to sell you on the event, and especially the matchup. And I gotta say, no matter how you feel about CM Punk or Drew McIntyre, I think what they've done with this feud has been fantastic. You look at what was the original plan at WrestleMania. It was going to be Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, and unfortunately, due to the injury that Punk would sustain at the Royal Rumble, the plans changed. But when the plans changed, so did the fortunes of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre as they pivot to a feud that has really capitalized on such bad news and has taken lemons and has made lemonade in the process. We saw a good matchup at SummerSlam, a better match at Bash in Berlin, and now it's the blow-off matchup here inside the Hell in a Cell. I think we're due for a violent encounter. Both participants are promising blood, they're promising wreckage, and I think that's what we're going to get. You look at the recent Hell in a Cell matches, whether it was Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, Edge and Finn Balor, I think this one will probably outdo both of those just in terms of the intensity. You look at the two previous matches that I mentioned at SummerSlam and Bash in Berlin, CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, I feel, had left a little bit on the table. I feel like they could have gone a little bit further, but it was all by design, because by the time we get to this matchup, they're going to leave it all on the line. And in terms of the prediction, I have CM Punk winning. CM Punk returns to the WWE. I find it hard to believe that he loses his first feud. Granted, he did lose his first matchup and his first one-on-one matchup with Drew McIntyre, but again, it's by design. I think CM Punk defeats Drew McIntyre. We get Drew over as the heel. CM Punk probably moves on into the world title picture against Gunther. He did, mention that a couple of weeks ago. I think that's the direction we go. Nonetheless, I think it should be a great matchup, but I want to hear from you guys. Go ahead and comment down below what match you're looking forward to the most on the card. What are some of your predictions? And if you enjoyed mine, make sure to like the video, subscribe to keep up to date with all the videos, and check out some of these videos that I've already produced throughout the last couple weeks. Of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Thank you for stopping by and talking wrestling with me, and I'll see you in the next one.